They want us to be sick, depressed, and asleep. They want us sick, depressed, and asleep. Hello, everybody. My name is Jack, and if the algorithm brought you here, you are a fan of grunge music and alternative rock. My band is called Mera, and you can find all of our videos right here on YouTube or wherever you stream your music. And I thank you very much for listening. It helps me out a lot. But what I want to talk about here today is my personal hero, Kurt Cobain. And wherever you are, Kurt, I want to wish you a happy birthday. It was his birthday last Thursday, February the 20th. Kurt would have been 58 years old. And it's just so sad that we didn't get to see him age. We didn't get to see him in his 30s, in his 40s, in his 50s. Because I wanted to know what he was going to be like. He was going to be my role model into old age. The old man that Kurt Cobain was going to become, that's who I wanted to be. You know, the 90s was a time when mental health was actually coming into its own. You know, in the 80s, it wasn't really talked about. Going to see a psychiatrist or being on medication, that was something that you kept kind of quiet. And in the 90s, that really came to the forefront. And I want to talk a little bit today about why that might be. What was it about that era, about the music, about the art, about the films, that was sort of putting a spotlight on the issue of mental health? You know, mental health has become a global epidemic. I mean, it's hard to find anybody who's not having some sort of mental health issues right now. And in the 90s, we were just sort of becoming aware of that. And it was evident in all of our art, and definitely in music, definitely in the genre of grunge and alternative, because that sort of thing wasn't talked about, right? The 80s was all metal and pop music and partying and girls and drinking and all of that. But along came Nirvana. Along came Kurt Cobain, this sensitive soul who felt so much of the world's pain and had to express it. And his music spoke to us. It spoke to me. It spoke to just about everybody. The emotion. And it sort of made me aware of what it's like to feel like that and how it's okay to express it. In fact, it's good to express it because you're letting other people know that they're not alone. There are other people out there who feel that way. You know, in the 90s, we were becoming more aware of certain things. We were becoming more aware of politics. We were becoming more aware of the media. And of course, more aware of the role corporations were playing in our lives. Kurt certainly was. I mean, who can forget the famous Rolling Stone magazine cover? Corporate rock still sucks, even though they were on a major label. He was making his opinion known. Corporations, the media, and the politicians all want us to be a certain way. There's a certain atmosphere, a certain mood that they want everyone to be in, and that is sick, depressed, and asleep. Kurt was a compassionate person at a time when the world was not being very compassionate, and Nirvana was just so good at being miserable. They were they were so good at capturing that feeling, the feeling of hopelessness, the feeling of rage, the feeling of being defeated, because they were the underdogs. They knew what it was like to fight from underneath. And I guess what I'm trying to describe here is the feeling of being blocked, right? That feeling of not being able to do what you want to do, not being able to create what you really want to create. What is that for you right now? What is that project that you're thinking about? What is that piece of art that you want to make, that album you want to write, that painting you want to make, that comic book you want to draw, that film you want to shoot? What is it about that right now that's blocking you? What's keeping you from doing it? Is it money? Is it your age? Is it maybe something else? Sometimes we call it laziness. Sometimes we call it procrastination. Sometimes we call it difficulty. But let's call it what it really is. It's fear. It's fear. You're just afraid to take that first step. Don't call yourself lazy. Don't call yourself a procrastinator. Don't call yourself incapable. Call yourself what you are. You are blocked. You're a blocked artist. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of compassion. Compassion for yourself, compassion for your inner artist. Because remember, your inner artist is a child. And it doesn't respond to punishment or doesn't respond to name calling. It responds to compassion. It needs to be coaxed out to play. What you need to find inside yourself, which is what in the end I think Kurt wasn't able to find, is enthusiasm. You see, Kurt's enthusiasm was gone. It was sucked out of him. By who? By the media, by corporations, by politicians. It was sucked out of him, his enthusiasm. Enthusiasm comes from the Greek word to be filled with God. When you are enthusiastic about something, you are filled with God. And if the word God bothers you, because I realize it's a very triggering word, it's polarizing, well then don't call it God. You can call it the universe. You can call it source energy. You can call it the great creator. You can call it the force. It doesn't matter what you call it because you can't get wet by the word water, right? You can't get wet by the word water. So call it whatever you want. But when you feel that source energy, that universal creative energy inside of you, you are filled with God. That enthusiasm is what you need to find. What makes you enthusiastic? What juices you up? Because you need that to keep you going as an artist on those days when you're not sure if this is right for you, when you're not sure if this is the path for you. Because I'm here to tell you it is. And you are an artist, and this is your path. So it's your job to stay enthusiastic. What is that? Is that going out and taking a trip to the museum, looking at some artwork, going into nature, listening to the birds, or watching the waves of the ocean, or maybe it's just going to see a movie and sitting in the dark and eating popcorn? Whatever makes you enthusiastic, you need to do that. Because remember, your artist child is begging you to come out and play. Don't lose that. We've all ventured into some project and we've all gotten to a certain stage where maybe things were rolling and then all of a sudden, boom, you do what's called a creative U-turn. Now, what's a creative U-turn? Well, it's a term that Julia Cameron uses in this book called The Artist Way. And it's an incredible book where she mentions that, creative U-turn is when you are on your way to doing what you want to do, and then all of a sudden you just turn around and you abandon it. What is that project for you? Can you maybe go back and find that project or rediscover it? Maybe it was an unfinished song or an unfinished painting or an unfinished set of pictures that you were going to work on. Whatever it was, maybe you want to go back and blow the dust off of it. Maybe there's something there that you can rediscover. Spark that enthusiasm. Because remember, your artist is a child. Its biggest fear is that it's going to be abandoned. So when you abandon something, it's going to feel hurt. It's going to feel a lack of trust. You've got to recreate that relationship. You've got to go back and revisit it. And then you need to reward yourself. You need to reward yourself for what you did. For any work that you've done. Reward yourself right now. Reward yourself right now for being here, for clicking on this video. Reward yourself just for showing up, for going out and researching something that's going to inspire you, something to help you. Because I'm here to tell you that the help is there. All you need to do is take that first step, that enthusiasm, to be filled with God, and the universe will be there to support you. Because see, in the end, I don't think that Kurt felt like he deserved what he got. I don't think he felt like he deserved the fame. I don't think he felt like he deserved the accolades. I think he was surrounded by corporations, media, politicians, people who were maybe telling him things that he didn't believe. He just thought they were using him as another tool to make money. And he didn't feel that it was sincere. He felt that there was a lack of authenticity all around him. It's all he sung about. It's all he talked about. He hated phony people. He didn't feel he deserved what he got. And I think it took him to a place where he felt hopeless. And we lost somebody that I wish he were here right now so I could look at this 58-year-old man and model my life after his. Because he did deserve it. And you know what? You deserve it too. So I want you to go back. I want you to find that project. I want you to rediscover that enthusiasm. And I want you to go forward with grace and gratitude so you can show the world your greatness, because you are great. My name is Jack. The name of my band is Mera, and I thank you very, very much for listening. Bye, everybody.